Hello all and welcome to TVM Academy. My name is Parik Jain and I have been mentoring CAT aspirants for the past 14 years. This is RC number 7 of our free CAT verbal preparation course, VARC 100. If you have not signed up for this course yet, please do so on our website. The link to the website is present in the description box of this video. Thank you. Let's begin RC number 7. A science-based passage. It was a difficult read possibly for some of you. A quick synopsis of the passage first. In the first paragraph, author tells you that Darwin's theory was challenged not only by religious figures, but also by other scientists. In the second paragraph, he tells you that Jenkins challenged Darwin's theory and argued that mutations are controlled rather than random. As a response to Jenkins' objection, Darwin admitted that unidirectional evolution of an entire population is possible. Okay. Then later, another scientist, Kelvin, challenged Darwin's theory by positing that Earth is relatively new, and therefore small evolution in small steps is not likely, because otherwise we would not have such a diverse fauna. As a response to Kelvin's objection, Darwin modified his theory. And he proposed that earlier changes were more rapid, evolutionary changes were more rapid than they are now at present. In the last paragraph, however, author tells us that both the revisions made by Darwin were proven wrong because of later scientific discoveries. So basically, Darwin modified his theories as a response to objections posed by or challenge posed by other scientists. But both his revisions were proven wrong because of later scientific discoveries. That's the gist of the passage. Now, after understanding this thought flow of the passage, let's deal with questions. I strongly urge you to pause the video here and revisit the passage, reread the passage if you did not understand it earlier. Now, reread the passage and compare it with the paragraph summaries that I have told you and see if you better understand the passage. This is very, very important. Question number 1. The primary purpose of the passage is to do what? Okay. Option A, to outline the process by which Darwin formulated and modified his theory of natural selection. Tempting choice for some of you. But the problem word in this answer choice is the process. Though the passage tells us that Darwin modified his theories, revised his theories after objections were raised by other scientists, the passage never tells us about the process he followed in modifying the theory. We only know that his earlier theory was this and the modified theory was this. But what process he followed, what were the steps he followed, how he modified the theory is not known. So this part, to outline the process by which he modified, this process part is alien to the discussion. Option B, the primary purpose is to propose a new interpretation of Darwin's theory. Now, please note, author has merely narrated the incidents, the events that led to modification of Darwin's theory. He modified the theory, but later his modifications were proven wrong. That's all. Author has not proposed any new interpretation of Darwin's theory, that Darwin's theory should be interpreted in this particular manner. Author has never proposed any new interpretation. This part is also alien. Option C, to explain how other scientists of the time helped Darwin modify and perfect his theories. Now, please note, as a matter of fact, it is written that the revisions that Darwin made as a response to other scientists' objections only were proven wrong later. So the other scientists did not actually help him perfect his theories, right? So this is contradictory to what the passage says in the last paragraph. Option D, the primary purpose is to discuss some scientific controversy that Darwin sparked, which is correct. Controversy simply means debate. And there was a debate. Other scientists had other perceptions of evolution, the process of evolution. So he did spark some controversy and describe his response to it. Yes, this is also described. how he responded to the controversy, how he responded to other scientists' objections by modifying or revising his theories. So how he responded to his to the objection is also there. Option D is the best available answer. Question number 2. It can be inferred from the passage that the theory of blending inheritance would predict that the offspring of, okay, let's see. Let's first understand the theory of blending inheritance. Second paragraph. The theory of blending inheritance, which holds that forms intermediate between those of the parents result from mating. So if two parents mate and they have certain features or characteristics, the resulting offspring, the child, is going to have a blend of both the characteristics. That is what blending inheritance, the theory of blending inheritance proposes. Okay. Option A. Two strains of snapdragon, one with abnormal, radically symmetrical flowers. Let's call it parent 1, P1. So one strain of snapdragon has abnormal, radically symmetrical flowers. So these features are P1, parent 1, and the other with normal, bilaterally symmetrical flowers. Let's call it parent 2. Now, as per the theory of blending, the resulting offspring should have both the characteristics. He should have, maybe he could have normal, radically symmetrical flowers, possibly. So there has to be a hybrid of two, or blending of the two characteristics. But this option says the offspring would always have normal, bilaterally symmetrical flowers, which are the characteristics of P2 only. Where are the characteristics of P1? We don't know. So option A is opposite to what the theory of blending inheritance predicts. Option B, the progeny of a white horse, so the offspring of white horse and a black horse, would always be a gray horse. Exactly what the theory of blending says. White plus black is equal to gray. So there will be a blend of the two characteristics. Option B should be the correct answer. A man with type A blood group and a woman with type B blood group would always produce offspring with type A, type B, or type AB. No. It's always according to the theory of blending inheritance. If one parent has type A, the other parent has type B, the child, the offspring, should have type AB, a blend of both. Okay, so intermediate between A and B, something like that. It will not have type A or type B or type AB. So this part is also incoherent with the theory. Option D, a fly with large eyes and a fly with small eyes. So this is P1, parent 1, large eyes, parent 2, small eyes. Now, an intermediate would be average sized eyes or mid-sized eyes. Okay. But it says, it's interesting. It says it would always have an offspring with one large eye and one small eye. Not like that. Intermediate does not mean one eye would be large and one eye would be small. It means mid-sized eyes would be there, right? So this part is funny, ridiculous. Option D, eliminated. This was a tough question. Question number 3. It can be inferred from the passage that wild type means what? Now, please note how to derive answer to such questions. Wild type was mentioned in paragraph 2 here. And the sentence says, Jenkins pointed out that if a rare and favorable mutation occurred, so if a rare and favorable mutation occurred, it would soon be blended out or counterbalanced by repeated crossings from the wild type form. Now, please understand, we have a mutated form and it is being counterbalanced by or blended out or counterbalanced by, give me the answer, think about it. A mutated form can only be counterbalanced by repeated interaction with non-mutated form. Only then it can be counterbalanced or balanced out. I should say balanced out or blended out by non-mutated forms. That has to be our answer. Option A is the answer. Please note, if it is crossbreeding with another rare mutation, then we have two rare mutations. There's no blending happening here. Okay. We can't have a blend now. Both of them are rare. Abnormal we don't know where does that come from. Random, we don't know where does that come from. So the only possible balancing out of a mutated form is a non-mutated form, right? Correct answer, option A. Nice question, this one. Which of the following, if it could be demonstrated, hypothetical question, CR, critical reasoning, hypothetical question. So if one of the following would be true, it would support the Lemmakian concept that Darwin embraced. Okay, so let's first understand the Lemmakian concept. The Lemmakian concept says, third paragraph, acquired traits in parents are transmitted to their offspring. So if I have developed a certain kind of habit as a parent, my kid will also have this habit, whether or not this habit was natural to me. Even if I've acquired that habit, even if this is over the period of time, this has become a cultural preference or something like that, then my kid can also have that habit. I can transmit that to my offspring, is what Lemmakian concept says. Thus providing a mechanism by which an entire population could change in the same direction at once. How does that happen now? Just because of this acquired characteristics getting transmitted to my kids, please understand. So let's say we have a society of n people and individuals, and all of them develop a particular culture. Now this culture can be seen as acquired trait. They behave in a particular manner, they have particular behavioral patterns, so that is acquired trait. Now these acquired traits are going to be transmitted to their offspring, which means an entire population, the entire society, the entire population is moving towards a particular direction, in a particular direction. So that's what Lemmakian concept says. So let's read the options now. We have to support this Lemmakian concept. Human beings evolved from now extinct animals, much like chimpanzees, as a result of erratic accumulation of changes. Now, this is not erratic, first thing. First problem, the changes are not erratic. Erratic accumulation of changes in the gene pool through thousands of generations. No. Parents are transmitting a certain acquired characteristics to their kids directly, one generation transmittance. Thousands of generations not mentioned. So option A is not in coherence with Lemmakian concept. Option B, some parental traits disappear in offspring and reappear in the following generation. That's not in coherence with Lemmakian concept either. They disappear in offspring? No. Lemmakian concept proposes that, Lammack proposed that the genes get transferred, or the parental traits get transferred to the next generation only, to the kid, to the offspring only. And not that they can reappear in third, fourth generation after getting disappeared in. So that kind of relationship is alien to Lemmakian concept. Option C, those hereditary traits that make their owners more likely to grow up and reproduce. Are Baba. Simplify this part first. Which traits is he talking about? Hereditary traits that make the owner of the trait. So if I have a trait, I am the owner of the trait. More likely to grow up and reproduce. So in short, he's talking about reproductive traits. Reproductive trait. Now read the sentence. What does option C says? Option C says reproductive traits become increasingly common in a population from one generation to the next. What does that mean? That means I have reproductive traits. My kid will have more reproductive traits than I have. This is not what Lemmakian concept says. Lemmakian concept never talks about reproductive traits in particular. So this idea is too narrow and alien. So option C is also out. Alien or too narrow, too specific. Lemmakian concept never talked about reproductive traits increasing in intensity over generations. Option D, rats who have had their tails cut off. Now, please note, cutting off the tails, cutting off rat's tail is an acquired trait now. This is not natural. Naturally, they had tails, but their tails were cut, which means this is something synthetically achieved, if I may say, or artificially achieved. So this is an acquired trait. They produce tailless offspring. So that acquired trait is getting transmitted to the next generation. Option D is the correct answer, because naturally the offspring should have tails, but because naturally rats have tails. In this case, their tails were cut off manually. but the offspring also has that acquired characteristic. It supports Lemmakian concept, guys. Hope you understood the question. Nice question. Number 5, can be inferred from the passage that if Mendel's work had been recognized and accepted, so it's a hypothetical question. If it had been, if it's a hypothetical question, okay. If Mendel's work had been accepted and recognized during Darwin's lifetime, it would have had which of the following effect? What would be the effect? Let's understand Mendel's work first. So Mendel's theory is that of particulate inheritance. What is particulate inheritance? Which is later compared with or contrasted with, a more generic or blending inheritance theory. So what is particulate inheritance? Also in the last line, particulate nature of inheritance meant that favorable mutation not only could persist, but could rapidly become prevalent. Favorable mutation, so particular mutation. So let's say a particular organism has trait X. Out of 100 traits, there is trait X. And this particular trait is favorable. Okay. So Mendel's theory would say that this trait X, a particular trait X, can be transmitted, and not all the traits. It's not a blending that is happening. Parent 1, parent 2, all the characteristics taken together, average sum is getting transferred to the gene pool of the kid, the offspring. No, that is a separate theory. Here, parent 1, parent 2, any specific trait in these parents, it does not have to be blending of all the traits, average of both the traits. No, any particular trait, let's say parent 1 has a special trait X, which is favorable. This particular trait can also get transmitted. That is what Mendel's theory of particulate inheritance says. So, okay. Particular traits can get transmitted is what Mendel's theory says. Now, what impact, what effect would it have on Darwin's theory? Option 1, it would have refuted Jenkins' objections to Darwin's theory. What was Jenkins' objection? Jenkins had said that natural selection is not random, it is controlled. So an average sum or blending thesis, the traits blend, and that's how he objected to Darwin's theory. But if Mendel's theory was right and Jenkins' theory wrong, in that case, Darwin's theory would be supported. So option 1 is correct. If Mendel's theory were right, it would have refuted Jenkins' objection to Darwin's theory. This part is correct. Option 1 is correct. Option 2, it would have supported Darwin's theory. Mendel's theory would have supported Darwin's theory that evolution proceeds by very slow steps. Now wait, Mendel's theory does not talk about speed at all. It does not talk about speed at all. It only talks about the possibility of choosing one particular trait to transfer to the next generation. One particular trait can get transferred to the next generation. In fact, if that can happen, then evolution is rapid rather than slow. So Darwin's theory would not be supported. In fact, it would be countered if Mendel's theory. This particular aspect of Darwin's theory would not be supported. So option 2 is not the correct answer. Option 3, it would have clarified and supported Darwin's theory of natural selection. What is his theory of natural selection? That favorable traits get transferred. There's a random selection of favorable traits. That's what natural selection is. So yes, option 3 would also be supported. So this aspect of Darwin's theory would be supported. Correct answer, options 1 and 3. Nice question. Probably a difficult question for some of you. Hope you enjoyed this exercise, guys, and hope you're enjoying VRC 100. Let me just say, the value delivered in this free course is only 10% of the total value delivered in our paid courses. It is only 10% of the total value. So just imagine how immensely our learners can benefit from this particular, from the courses that we run. So if you want your preparation to be systematic, if you don't want to lag behind, if you don't want to waste your time, and if you want to enroll for the most comprehensive course in the market right now for verbal ability CAT, please enroll to the course. The website has all the links. You can also watch the video which explains the course details. Thank you very much. Keep liking the video. Please keep sharing the video and make my time worth the while, worth all the effort. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Cheers to learning.